agenda tonight, so we're going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Jessica, roll call.
Flint.
Here.
Mullen.
Here.
Overberg.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Hampton.
Here.
Maher. Husinga.
Here.
Any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Flint.
Yes.
Mullen.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Husinga.
Yes.
All right, our student spotlight is a little loud for the library, so if anybody would like to join us, we're going to head out to the commons for our student spotlight.
Age before beauty, go ahead.
Probably have to fix that drum.
All right, Rachel, tough act to follow, but next up we have the Mount Pleasant Chamber Alliance.
I was just thinking that those kids were wonderful. So, for those that don't know me, I am Rachel Lindeen with the Mount Pleasant Area Chamber Alliance, and unlike your agenda states, I brought with me Lisa Edkin, the director of Main Street Mount Pleasant. So, we're here to give you an update from our offices. Basically, it's kind of a couple reasons, but the first reason is your students are our future workforce and our future residents of our community. And the second part is, about a year ago, we went through 2 community visioning sessions with our boards, the Chamber, Main Street, and Economic Development, and not to leave out tourism, they were part of the Chamber. But we just have really worked on opening the communication and the working together of our 3 boards. We are 3 boards, 3 budgets, 3 bylaws, but together we are working to better our community, and the school district plays a crucial part in that. So before I get too far ahead, what is the Mount Pleasant Chamber Alliance? It's the Chamber of Commerce. It's the Area Development Commission, which some would know as Economic Development. We have a small tourism arm, and Main Street Mount Pleasant. So together we work to better our business community and do all kinds of fun things. So, from our community visioning, we had a lot of conversations. We did it in 2024. It was 1 year post closure of Iowa Wesleyan. And it wasn't that Iowa Wesleyan made up the community, but it made up a lot of what we were, not who we were, but what we are. So our 3 boards took a hard look of what direction are we going, who do we want to be, what's next. So out of the community visioning with our boards, and a few community key stakeholders, we decided to do a feasibility study. Now I'm here to tell you the feasibility study has been completed, but we do not have the results yet. So we're kind of in this weird limbo. But we decided to test the private sector on private sector investment into economic development. Traditionally, as I mentioned, we have 3 boards, 3 budgets, 3 bylaws. Chamber is membership and sponsorship event-based. Economic development is funded by our municipalities, our county, and our energy partners. Main Street is private investment and events. So we needed to diversify our budgets a little bit and ask the private sector what they're worth. What are they willing to play in the economic development? And we hired Convergent Nonprofit Solutions, and they tested a feasibility study of $1.25 million over a 5-year campaign with a new industrial park, because we have a lot of land, but we do not have any shovel-ready land. So if I were to respond to an RFP through economic development, we are currently not ready today to be able to respond to that. So we need to figure out what is our next industrial park. Housing is a huge thing. We had a housing study that was completed and given to us spring of 2023, which became very outdated upon its time of publication. So we need to work on housing and figure out what's next. Future workforce programming, where that's what the school comes into play for, and placemaking. So placemaking is, what's your 5 to 9? We have excellent jobs in this community, but what do you do for your free time? What do you do from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock? What do you do on the weekends? So instead of saying, oh, I go to Iowa City, or I go out to eat in Burlington, what do you do in this community? Those are the things we took a hard look at, and we are awaiting the results. Like I mentioned, we did about 64 interviews, and we should have the results to our boards in a couple weeks. Let's see, I made myself a few notes so I didn't forget, and I think I've already forgotten half of the things. Okay, So what's next for Chamber of Commerce? Right now we are recruiting for Henry County leadership. So if you have anybody in your schools, teachers, administration, the school district has always done a great job of supporting the community, this program. It is a 9-month course, in-depth course. We partner with the Extension Office for some curriculum, and we also do behind the scenes, if you will, of the community. Whether that be touring Lomont, or going to Walmart distribution, or spending some time with Mr. Hendrickson, just the behind the scenes, and the class also goes with us to Des Moines for Southeast Iowa Days, our advocacy trip. I do need before I pass the mic, say a little thank you. We have Crafts in the Park, which is the craft show in the park over our Labor Day weekend. We couldn't do it without great partnerships, and one of the great partnerships we have is the Athletic Boosters, and it's kind of a volunteer pay type of thing, so I can't say, I have to say thank you to that, and the use of parking lot for some of our vendors at the school.
So yeah, thank you for having us. She touched just a little bit on Main Street. We are the true nonprofit arm of the Alliance. We're a 501c3, and we live completely on investments, sponsorships, and fundraisers. So this is where one thing that the school can help us with is with volunteers for our events, helping in different areas. I mean, we have someone sitting in the room that even performed downtown at one of our events this summer. So I believe he got on stage and sang. But a lot of the students come back. One thing I would like to talk to you as a board as is your Silver Cord program. I've used it numerous times in the past. When we're talking about fundraisers for Main Street, one of the fundraisers we do is we man the gates at Midwest Old Thrashers. So from Monday to Monday, you'll see me there. I work about 126 hours that week. I would love to see more Silver Cord. I would love to see you have it as a requirement for graduation, that every student has to have so many Silver Cord hours to graduate. This would help when we talk about Iowa, and I'm not here to put in a plug for Old Thrashers, but I do know as running the gates, we have holes. So if any of you have not volunteered, please do. But when Iowa closed, that was 400 to 600 volunteers that disappeared for our community. So that's just one event that happens. So, but you might ask, why is downtown important to the school board? Why is it important to the school? Well, I think of downtown, and I've done this for 21 years, as you could consider it your living room, the heart of our community. If we're not strong downtown, the community's not strong. And for us to do that, it takes volunteers, investments, that kind of thing. But also, if you're recruiting new teachers, new administration, new students, they're going to come and look. Are we shuttered up or are we vibrant? Do we have things going on in downtown? Is there events to go to? Do we have a nice central park? What's our streets and sidewalks look like? Is it safe? Those are the things, and that's what I work on. Whether it's business retention and recruitment, whether it's event planning, doing events for the community to come, family-oriented events, adult events, all kinds of different events. You know, and we really love working with the school on our events. So, I don't know, is there anything else? Any questions for us? It's very quiet.
When do you expect those results back from that feasibility study?
Yeah, so that's a kind of a tricky answer, actually. It's a good question, but it's a tricky answer. So our boards will receive them. We're doing a joint board meeting for our August meeting, so the board will receive some stuff there. It probably will go public September-ish, really. We have some preliminary, and actually I was expecting 64 meetings, 64 different ideas, and the consensus was really on par with what we presented. There's some refinement that needs to happen, but yes.
Right, so Rachel, you spoke about people staying after 5 o'clock in the community. Do you have data that shows how many people work in the Mount Pleasant?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our population basically doubles during the day. So it's like 13,500 people come. Our population is at during the Monday through Friday workday hours. For example, I had one manufacturer do just kind of on his own poll, about 150 employees, said that his average commute based off of zip codes was 22 miles. We have another employer that pulls from a tri-state area. So we know we have really great jobs, but we're really working on the housing and what's your 5 to 9. It's really hard to quantify some of that too, but we see it with the restaurants that we've gotten, right? There's a lot of daytime kind of lunch options. Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, just a couple of related things. I want to thank Rachel and the Chamber. They support our all-staff breakfast, and so on Wednesday morning, when we all get together and have breakfast, that is brought to you by your Chamber Alliance, so thank you so much for doing that. And I would just mention as well, I sit on the Chamber Alliance board as ex officio. I don't vote, but I'm there to listen and hear what's going on and give input give input from the school district's perspective. And so I would just say, as you look at your next superintendent, would definitely encourage that to be part of what that person does. Is to, I mean, if you're still looking for that person to be on the board, it's a critical piece because it brings everything together and it gives us a seat at the table with the community as well.
All right, next up on our agenda, we have citizen comments. Alan?
Alan, you're welcome to come up, or you can, if you want to address the board here, up to you.
I'll do it mine.
Okay, sure.
I got some handouts. Just the ball, if that's okay. Sure. Do I just pass? I will give him something, but yeah. You got it. Well, some of you guys may know me, but I'm Alan Wiseman. My son, Declan Wiseman, was a sophomore here in 2025 last year, and I guess I'm here advocating for him tonight on potentially waiving his 90-day ineligibility as we open and roll out to another school district to follow his brother and sister that opened and rolled out 2 years ago. Will be going on its 3rd year. But 3 years ago, our 2 younger kids, Briley and Graydon Wiseman, opened and rolled out of Mount Pleasant, like I said, due to some circumstances that they were faced with and out of their control. If you would want to open and roll to New London and follow his family. And he said no, because his friends here at Mount Pleasant. I respected that decision because I wanted him to experience high school with his friends and fellow peers. You know, Declan enjoyed all the things here at Mount Pleasant, all things considered when it comes to the high school, until late this year. Declan has realized that family outweighs his friends and fellow peers. When push comes to shove, he wants to be with his siblings. He realizes being a big brother is more than just that. Though he would say he doesn't want to take his siblings to school. I'm sorry. But, you know, doesn't want to take them to school and they can walk with a big smile on his face, he will do just that. Take them to school and be involved with all their activities they have. Seeing his little sister in elementary school and at lunch and seeing his brother a lot throughout the day will bring the family bond even closer. Lastly and foremost, I am asking that Declan's 90-day ineligibility be waived. I know this is not a common practice within the school system, but I do know there are exceptions to be made at times. I am asking you all to consider waiving it and not punishing a young adolescent for wanting to be with his siblings and wanting to be a contribution to the family in more than one way. We should admire his actions for wanting to be with his siblings at a new school and giving up what he has known for the last 10 grades with his friends, teachers, and peers. We should be proud as a district that a young man at 16 years old knows the value of family and wants to be that supporting big brother that Mount Pleasant has helped instill into him. I want to thank you all for considering waiving his 90-day ineligibility and not punishing this young man for choosing what is right in life, and that is supporting his family and giving up what he is so used to here at Mount Pleasant to start a new beginning in a new environment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alan. Next, we have approval of minutes, claims, and claims only.
Minutes and claims. So those were posted. I do have them here. If anybody has any questions, wants to go over anything. We did go over these line by line at the Finance Committee meeting on Friday. So unless you have questions, I would recommend that you approve.
Any questions? Otherwise, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Blint,
Yes.
Mullen,
Yes.
Overberg,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Hustenka.
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have a superintendent search firm presentation from Grenmeyer Leader Services.
In theory. Good evening. Flip up on the bottom there, if you want. Just put that on the bottom of the line, like you said.
How about that?
Here we go.
I'm so glad the computer worked. I messed up the microphone. So, I got a chance to meet all of you as we came in earlier, except our board member online. So nice to meet everybody. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak to you tonight. We'll do a really quick introduction of ourselves so you know who we are a little bit. And then we'll dive into a lot about Grenmeyer Leader Services and how we can support your search for your next superintendent. I'm Shannon Bisgard. I'm a long-time public educator in Iowa. Grew up in North Iowa, actually, small rural town. Lived in Iowa my entire life. Went to school in Iowa, Drake, and UNI. Was a teacher in Newton, Iowa, and a principal and independent in Newton, Iowa. And then worked at Linmar. I was a principal and superintendent at Grantwood AEA as well before retiring 2.5 years ago now. So love what I do now, working for Grenmeyer Leader Services, working for schools primarily in Eastern Iowa. Wherever Trent needs me, I go. I'm kind of one of his Eastern Iowa connections as well. That's kind of the area I work in, and I love the work I get to do with school boards. And I will say, this is the largest crowd I've had for a board presentation yet, so congratulations. It's kind of cool to see. And I will also say, the band to start things off, that's the best way to start a board meeting I've had yet, too. So, I'll let John introduce himself as well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Spear. Like Shane, I'm a lifelong Iowan, 31 K-12 educational career here in Iowa. I've been a high school teacher, a middle school teacher and coach, secondary principal, high school principal, superintendent. My last position before I retired was a chief administrator at Grantwood AEA. Like Shannon, we've been in schools from small, urban, suburban. We've seen it all. It'd be nothing. It'd be our pleasure to work with you to find the right fit for Mount Pleasant. We know we just listen to your chamber, your vibrant community. You've got a great building here, exceptional library. We'd be happy to work with you to try to find the right person, to help you find the right person to be superintendent.
We're just two members of a much larger team, as you can see on the screen. We typically spread out our responsibilities kind of by area. Like I said, Eastern Iowa is our primary focus. But I show this picture because there's several other team members that have been working behind the scenes to support your search as well. From doing some of the surveys, some information we'll talk about in a little bit. We We have a great team that works together, and they also really help to recruit and connect with candidates that we may or may not know as well too. So it's a much bigger team, but we would be the two that would be specifically serving your district, and I would be your primary contact just to keep things efficient. We think that's a communication chain is really important to have one primary contact. So I would be that, and John and I would always be working together throughout this entire process. I mentioned earlier, talking to a couple of you, that if I get talking long tonight, please cut us off. I know you have a heavy board agenda, but there's a lot to cover, so I'll try to do it in a condensed manner. But if any time you have a question about anything or want to tell me to speed up, please do that as well. This slide's important because it really shows the whole process on one page. I won't go through everything here, but really what it shows is we pride ourselves on going through the entire search process with you. We will lead you through the process as much as we can, but the full decision of who you hire and every decision you make is yours. We work for you. So everything that will be up here can be tweaked, can be adjusted, but this is the process we would do if we are selected to lead your search. We would begin right away with recruiting, and then we'd have an organizational meeting with you to really talk about next steps, all the way through the hiring process, and once they get hired, getting them onboarded and started successfully too. So that kind of breaks down the entire search process. And I see several of you have opened the folder as well. The slides are there for you to look at now, or if you want to later on too. I do have a quick video I want to share with you. This talks about the search process that we provide in a generic perspective, a lot of detailed pieces of it. And then once that is over with, I will share with you more specific things that we see from Mount Pleasant for you guys specifically. So again, we hope technology cooperates with us.
For over a decade, Grunmeyer Leader Services has been proud to serve the schools that serve our communities. Since 2013, our firm has specialized in one mission: transforming education, one leader at a time. Each year, we lead more than 80 searches. Our placements stay longer and lead stronger, with superintendent tenure consistently exceeding the national average. Why? Because we know schools. Our team brings an average of 33 years of experience in education, including 5 consultants who have also served on school boards themselves. That means we understand your challenges and your goals. We're here to elevate leadership, support communities, and help schools thrive, one superintendent at a time.
On behalf of Grunmeyer Leader Services, I want to express our sincere appreciation for considering us as your partner in one of the most important responsibilities you have, hiring your next superintendent. The impact of your hire will shape your district's future for years to come.
It all begins with a plan. From day one, your dedicated consultant works directly with your board to design a search process that fits the unique needs of your school district and community. Together, we set key hiring dates, outline expectations, define the qualities you're looking for, and prepare to engage candidates with confidence. We'll also help you move forward with transparency and openness so that you can maintain trust in your community. To attract the best candidates, we guide you in developing a competitive salary and benefits package, supported by real-time data and regional comparisons. Through it all, we keep communication clear, consistent, and professional, from press releases to community updates, so that your stakeholders stay informed and engaged throughout the process. Every great search starts with listening. We begin by inviting your community to take a survey, giving them a chance to weigh in on the current reality of the district and qualities they would like to see in their next school leader. Once the survey closes, your board receives a detailed report highlighting the key themes and priorities that emerged. Guided by your GLS consultant, the board uses these insights to identify the desired qualifications for your next superintendent, aligning your goals with the community's expectations. Next, using our extensive marketing platforms, we advertise your superintendent opening far and wide, ensuring it reaches top-tier candidates both in your area and across the country. With a strong, targeted social media presence and a proven digital strategy, your job posting is seen by the right people at the right time. Our team of experienced and well-connected consultants actively recruit high-quality candidates, ensuring a larger candidate pool than you may expect. The board will have the opportunity to see every candidate who applies. Once the application window closes, our team begins a thorough and thoughtful review. We organize applicants into clearly defined tiers, giving your board a strategic view of the candidate pool and highlighting those who most closely align with your desired qualifications. For every candidate, we gather multiple confidential references, not just from those listed on their resume, but also from our own network of trusted contacts. We also check licensure at this stage of the search. This behind-the-scenes insight helps you understand your candidates beyond the paper. With a strong pool of candidates identified, we move into the screening phase. Your GLS consultant works with the board to draft custom screening questions tailored to your district's goals and the leadership qualities you're seeking. Your consultant will facilitate live screening interviews, creating a structured and professional environment where each candidate is evaluated fairly and consistently. After the screening interviews, we guide your board through a debrief process, helping you select the finalists who are best equipped to lead your schools. After finalists are selected, the GLS difference truly shines through. We help coordinate every detail of the formal interview day, including schedules, tours, meals, and interview questions. Your consultant is there to help facilitate interview teams and summarize feedback at the end of the day to ensure it's a good day for the finalists and everyone involved. Following the formal interviews, we take the board through a thoughtful, data-informed approach to decision-making. The board will see the feedback from everyone involved in the interview process, including tour guides. This gives your board a clear, organized picture of how each finalist was perceived. To ensure full confidence in your finalists, we conduct a social media screening and share an advanced insights report on each finalist, offering deep perspective into their online presence and leadership style. Once the top candidate is selected, we support your board through one of the most important final steps, extending the job offer. Your GLS consultant assists in drafting and delivering a formal offer based on pre-negotiation feedback the finalists complete before the formal interview day. After your new leader accepts the offer, GLS provides a press release announcing the hire, crafted to reflect your district's values and generate community excitement. To help your new leader make a strong first impression, we even provide an introductory video welcoming them to your district, and setting the tone for a successful start.
This is not just a new goal for me. It's an opportunity to come home and serve a community that I care very much about.
Our support doesn't end with the hire. Newly placed superintendents are invited to attend an exclusive onboarding workshop designed to help them hit the ground running with confidence, clarity, and connection. Each month, they'll also receive our Fitting 5 newsletter, packed with leadership insights, tools, and timely resources to support their continued growth. And for school districts looking to go even further, GLS offers a range of follow-up services, including facilitated superintendent evaluations and retreats for school boards and administrative teams. Because leadership is not just about finding the right person, it's about setting them up for long-term success.
We were extremely pleased with the services provided by Grunmeyer Leadership Services. We were on a relatively tight timeline, but Dr. Grunmeyer and his team worked behind the scenes constantly to get the word out about our opening, and we were ecstatic to have 28 applicants.
The Hampton-Dumont School District has had great success using Grunmeyer Leader Services. We've used them for the last several administrative positions and have been very pleased with how things have gone. We trust the process. We know that Trent has our back and is always looking out for our best interest.
We look forward to partnering with you on this important hire.
Hope you can see and hear everything okay. The video kind of gives you a quick overview of everything through our process. I won't go through all of that in detail with you, but I do want to hit some very specific things, how that would apply to you. So if we are fortunate enough to be chosen to help lead your process, our next steps would be scheduling several board meetings going forward, and the first one would be a planning meeting where we go through all of that in much more detail. And we start to work through the specifics of what that looks like and kind of plan our calendar and our next steps out, and then obviously dig into more questions that you may have as well too. Other pieces we'd start with right away that we would need assistance from you as far as salary range. We will give you some of our recommended salary range based on comparable size school districts across the state, but we look to you for some guidance on what that would look like, what you want to set. We start to work through the survey piece as well, getting that coordinated and ready to go. And then interview teams, we start to have you start to think about what does that look like? Who do you want to involve? How many people? We'll give you some guidance and suggestions, but those would be things we'd start to ask you to think about as well as we begin the process. The proposed hiring timeline that I'm sharing with you right now is just a starting point. This may be way too slow for what you're wanting to see. This may be too fast. We can tweak it any way you want. But as we looked at your situation, since you have an early announcement, an early hiring process, we have time. So that's a huge advantage, but I also want to be careful we don't move too soon. If you move too soon on things, some good candidates aren't looking for jobs for next school year yet because they're just getting started on this school year. So we'll want to talk through what does that look like, what's the ideal time frame there. So one proposed timeline we have here is kind of working with the end in mind, then going backwards. We think the interviews and formal interviews in December would be a great time to get things wrapped up before the holidays. You'd still be on the very early part of the hiring process as far as competitors trying to get the best candidates, but still give candidates enough time to start to think about next year, get the materials organized and to apply as well, and give us plenty of time to recruit as well too. So essentially, we have a month or two to kind of get organized, start the survey, and then begin recruiting, and then give them the candidates time to get the materials ready and sent into. Again, this completely can be adjusted to however you want, but we think that's an adequate timeline. The Clear Creek Humana video you heard, I worked on that search last year. They were under a pretty tight time frame. Theirs was much more condensed than this, which can be problematic when you're trying to pull together a successful search, but it works. You have the advantage of time on your hands, so that gives us a lot of options. Stakeholder survey report, I won't talk too much about that, but I do want to really emphasize how important that is. One, it gets feedback from your community. And with the window we have available, you have plenty of time to get that survey out to your folks. We will put it together for you, and then we'll give you a link, and we would encourage you to share that with everybody and anybody in your community, with your chamber, with your high school students, with anybody you can, electronically. You can put signs up around the community for people to complete it. The more people you can get to respond, the better the data is. So with the time you have, should be plenty of opportunities to do that. And then it gives you great feedback. So we'll put together a report that summarizes all of the hundreds and thousands of comments and feedback you see. We'll give you a summary report of the key pieces, which is very helpful to make sure what you're looking for matches what your community wants to see as well, hopefully. But then it also gives us direction so we can start to move forward, recruiting the right candidates to find the right fit for you, as well as we craft all of our interview questions for screening and formal interviews based on what this report says. We want to make sure that our interview questions are in alignment with what you're looking for as well too. So it's a tool that's really a great way to gather feedback, but also drives every step as we go forward through the rest of the process. Then recruiting. We spend a lot of time recruiting as many candidates as we can. The job market for educators across the state, you see there's less people applying for teaching jobs than there used to be. There's less people applying for principal jobs than there used to be. Hence, there's less people applying for superintendent jobs than there used to be, which makes the recruiting part that much more important for us. So we're very active in that recruiting. Once we really know what you're looking for, what your community wants, we will spend a lot of time trying to encourage people that we think would be good fits to do that as well too. We just show the list there to show we apply or we post the application pretty much any place we can, locally, statewide, and even nationally. We don't see a lot of national candidates apply. Sometimes we do. They may have a connection to the area, want to come back home. Opportunities that way too. So we try to be diverse in where we really recruit every way possible. Some basic stats for you. This is from last school year from our searches, so we can't speak to others that do it on their own. But we had a 14 average, the number of applicants applied was 14. I think we had one small district in Southwest Iowa had 3. I think Clear Creek Humana had 28 was our highest. So the 14 to 15 range is pretty common for us to see in most districts. Not sure what to expect for this year. I would guess somewhere in that similar ballpark. 30% of internal candidates did get the position. I don't know if you have anybody internally to be interested or not. I don't know if you'd be interested in them. But that always comes up in a district at some level. So about a third of the candidates end up going internal candidates and 2/3 not. 6% of our out-of-state candidates or positions are filled by out-of-state candidates. So we don't see a lot of out-of-state candidates anymore at all. And we have not many of our out-of-state candidates end up getting the job. You may see a few more because of your location. I mentioned tri-state earlier. You may see a couple of individuals there too. But typically we'll see an Iowa candidate. Our number of female candidates hired last year was quite a bit less than it had been the previous 2 years. I think we were in the 40% the previous 2 years as well. Last year was only 23% of our candidates hired were females. I don't know if we hired all the good candidates the previous 2 years or interesting candidates the previous 2 years. That number will creep back up again this year as well. And then we asked, once we finish every search, we asked the school boards to give us some feedback. 90% of our school boards from last year rated our service as outstanding. And then the last one on there is we do about 85% of the searches in Iowa for superintendent positions. So just some basic information about us. The other piece that's briefly mentioned in the video, the email communication to you, as soon as we post the position, we start getting applicants, we will send you a weekly update every Monday to say, here are the candidates that applied in the last week. You will see their names, you will see their basic letter of application and resume. So as the process goes on, you'll start to see names trickle in. And then as we get farther in the process, we'll provide you more information. Once the deadline is hit, we'll give you some candidate narratives, some basic summaries, and we ask them to disclose a few things. If they have anything in their history that would be of concern, different things like that, we'll share all of that with you as well. So as the video mentioned, you'll see every applicant that applies, and you'll see every disclosure on everybody, good and bad, that way as well too. And then once the candidates are completed, we'll put together, this page is a summary for every single candidate. And as the video mentioned, we rank them how we think we see them as the best candidates in tiers. That may not be completely where you think some of the candidates are, and that's perfectly fine. You can adjust them any way you want as far as the next step in the process, but we give you our thoughts based on what we know about them. And then that leads to screening interviews. So really there's 2 rounds of interviews that we typically do. Some schools will skip this step, but most will do this, and I would encourage it. The screening interviews are typically done in a setting like this, where we have the candidates zoom in. It's typically a 30-minute interview. We do about 8 questions. We usually give the candidates 4 questions ahead of time. that we have crafted together, and then 4 are surprise questions. And you can kind of see how do they prepare, and then also how do they handle surprise questions as well too. 30 minutes seems quick, but you really do get a pretty good vibe on candidates in that short period of time as well too. Usually we do between 4 to 8 candidates in that setting, and then the board typically decides to bring back 2 or 3 for finalists for the formal full-day interviews essentially. Again, this is all going to be customized how you want it. That's kind of what we have found to be a successful process. The full-day interviews, like I said, we think it's really important to get feedback from your community, not only in the survey, but also on the interview days. So we would encourage you on the interview teams to have community members, to have parents, to have teachers, staff members, to have students on there as well. And then we gather, we kind of walk them through a process of the do's and don'ts of interviewing. John and I will both be here for that entire day. You'll be with one group, I usually with another group, and then the board obviously is a separate group as well too. And then we go through that entire process. We gather feedback from everybody, and then we give you a summary report to say, here's what your teacher said about these candidates. Here's what your parents said about this. Hopefully the data matches to what you think as well. Usually it does, but not always. And that gives you kind of an idea of what your community members think. In the survey, big picture, but then also a chance to give feedback from the interview days as well too. And then I was also mentioned in the video, one other tool that we use to help have you get to know the candidates a little bit better is for the finalists, we do kind of a process called the inventory assessment to get to know candidates as far as what are their skill sets, how do they best operate, how do they handle conflict, those type of things, so you can get to know them as a board member as well too. This tool is somewhat helpful in the decision-making process. I think it's more valuable when the person gets on board and you can start to get to know them as an individual and realize, okay, this is how they handle stressful situations. This is how we can best cooperate and communicate together. So it's kind of a two-purpose for this tool as well too. And we'll provide that for each of your finalists, so whoever gets hired will have that information ready to go. The other piece I'll just mention right away is the pre-negotiation form. We try to do as much work in advance of the interview day as possible. On your end, preparing you for the interviews, getting everything organized and communicated as much as possible, but we also do as much as we can with the candidates. So whoever the finalists are, we will give each of them a pre-negotiation form to fill out. We want to make sure, are they 100% interested in this position? We ask them to rate their family interest from 1 to 10. And if they're not a 9 or a 10, we're on the phone to talk to them to see what's the hesitation. The last thing we want to do is have somebody go through the process and then pull out last minute. So we try to be as proactive as possible. We'll ask what is their preferred salary, what are they looking for benefits. So it just starts that early negotiation process. So whoever you offer the job to, you're already a couple steps down the road as far as that initial contract offer goes. And that just speeds up the whole decision-making process for everybody involved. And then once they're hired, really start to work with them on that transition piece. How do you welcome them to the community? What can you do to get them started? You saw a couple of samples of the video, and then we try to support them as much as possible in the summertime leading up to the start of the next school year as well too. And then the invoice piece of it, we don't have anything to say about this. Trent does all that work, and you've already seen that information as well too. So went through things really quickly. I don't see anybody sleeping yet, so that's a good sign. Do you have any questions for either one of us? Things I went through too fast or things you didn't understand?
On the survey piece, the electronic piece, does it ask you what your role is? Like when you fill it out, do you know this is community members, these are staff members? Is that selection criteria in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So this document right here, you can't see very well, starts to break it down by the number of people that filled it out as a parent or as a staff member. You know, some people that will mark 2 boxes because they wear 2 hats in those roles. So you'll get to see the number of students that filled it out, the number of community members, board members, your category as well. Break that down. Other questions?
So it,
Excuse me, Rob.
Go ahead, Melinda.
Well, I was looking on the website and I noticed you're currently working with Pella, Grinnell, and Eldora. Is that correct? And are there other school districts our size that you could work with?
Yeah, Pella and Grinnell we have set up to work with for this school year as well. John and I are not working with either Pella or Grinnell, but our other team members are. So we will definitely connect with them about candidates that may be of interest for all three of those positions. But our focus will not be distracted to those other positions. We'll be focused with you guys, if that makes sense. And then other positions like this that we have worked with, I can give you a couple of just even from last year. Clear Creek Amana is in your plus or minus 10 schools above or below for your enrollment. Trent and I worked on that search last year. Last year did the Fort Madison superintendent search. They had kind of a late position as well, so went through that one. Highland, Riverside, and Waco are not as big as you guys are, but they're local. That search as well from last year. And then 2 years ago, I guess West Burlington is another one I did kind of down this area as well too. So feel free to reach out to any of those school board members and ask them what their thought about the process as well too, if you know somebody from those places or just want to check too. I hope that answered your question.
One other thing I saw on your Facebook when you listed all your, the services that you provide in the superintendent search, it talked about guaranteeing it, so I just wondered what's involved in guarantee?
Yeah, great question, and now you're going to test my memory, so I hope I tell you this right. If I will double check when I get home, and if I have this not right at the top of my head, I will let you know. Essentially, it's a 2-year guarantee that if the candidate that is hired is not a successful fit for you after 2 years, we'll do the search for you again, essentially, just for expenses of mileage. If there's a person that is career advancement after that, moving to the Department of Education or AAA chief, then we work with you on a negotiated price, essentially, but that becomes, essentially what we're looking for is making sure if the candidate we help you hire and work with you on is not the right fit, after 2 years, then we'll do the next search for free.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope I'm saying that correctly, John. If I'm not, let me know. I hesitate because I've never had to do that. So I'm going off of memory on what our guidance are that we never have to do. Thankfully, knock on wood.
Well, that's good. If you've never had to do it, that's good.
I know, but it reminds me I need to go back and double check that so I know what it is in case I have to. I don't want to tell you wrong.
Thank you.
Do you have any statistics on how many placements that you've done are still in that position? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
Trent did have some data from that from a year ago. I don't know if he's updated this year or not. I don't have that information off the top of my head. Do you remember? Definitely get that for you and send that your way as well too. But he has done that research. It might be a year old, the data, but it would give you a picture anyway. And the other part of the promise that I need to make sure you know as well, whoever you end up hiring, we will not poach that candidate ever. So in our recruiting, we don't ever recruit somebody that we have helped a board hire at their district. So Clear Creek Amana made their hire last year. We will never reach out to Aaron Davidson to encourage him to apply for a different job. Now, if Aaron reaches out to us to say, whatever, I want to come here, we would listen to that and see, but we will never reach out to a candidate on any position we've ever filled. So.
Can you tell us why we should hire a search firm?
Great question. And we get that question a lot, almost every time we do one of these. Here's my basic answer for it. I think it's the most important decision you will make as a board. And if you make the right decision process, you're set yourself up for success for the next decade or so. I think the hiring process as a superintendent, as a principal, was the most important thing I ever did, and it takes a lot of time to do it right. You may not use a search firm and you may find the right person. It may work perfectly well for you, but to do the due diligence it takes, our goal when we do these searches is we want to do a ton of work behind the scenes so it makes your job easy and your focus can be on picking the right person. Not worried about details of interview questions or procedural things or can we answer that person's question legally. We want to take care of all of that for you so your focus is finding the right person for the right long-term fit. The other part of it, I guess I would add to that is, I know it's not a cheap investment for you to make, but if you make the wrong hire, that is a much more expensive process to go through, regardless of how that ends up, than it is if you invest in things right away. because the work that we do behind the scenes on background checks on candidates, we really dig. We'll see their letters of recommendation. We always follow up with those individuals to get more detail, and it's amazing what they'll tell you in private versus what they say in their letter of recommendation. It's amazing what we can find out on other things as well, just from knowing so many educators across Iowa about candidates that may not show up in their paperwork as well. So I just think our network of connections we have can really help us to avoid making that wrong mistake. Anything else you want to add to that, John?
30 seconds. Why Grunmeyer? Three things always stick out in my mind. One, we can personalize every step of this process, so we make our process change to fit Mount Pleasant. We don't make Mount Pleasant fit our process. That's not always the case. Two, the weekly communication that Grunmeyer Leader Services gives the board keeps them involved in the process really every day, from now, let's say, to December. And then three, when we hire a superintendent, or you hire a superintendent with our help, we see that as the beginning, not the end. We have a vested interest in making sure that you find the right candidate, that they have every possibility of being a successful superintendent. So we won't abandon you once they sign the contract. We're here for the long haul.
Hope that answered your question, or any follow-up to that?
I was going to follow up with that long-term support. I mean, you do have the onboarding workshop, publications sent to the successful candidates. What about personal contacts? Will there still be any personal contacts from either of you or anybody in your firm to the new superintendent?
Yes, it really, from after the onboarding, this new school year begins, to the start of 2026 school year, we will offer certain services and supports. Some are very informal, some are more formalized, and then it becomes really a matter of what you and what your new superintendent are looking for. Some don't want any, they're like, no, we're good, and they're off and running. Others want support on a board workshop together, or they may want support on the first year of evaluation of the superintendent, where we can go through the process with you, and then that allows you to focus more on the goals and the standards, and to work through that piece of it. And then sometimes the superintendent just wants to stay in touch. As former superintendents, many of us are, they'll just reach out to us and ask questions and be another contact and a colleague for them as well too. So it can be very informal, or it can be more formalized, or it can be none. And honestly, the hires we've made the last several years, I have a little bit of all of those right now. So that's really just depends on the situation. Sometimes the school board may have 5 new school board members after an election, and that changes the dynamic, or they want to do a workshop and an onboarding that way, or sometimes it's a very veteran superintendent coming in, and they may not need quite as much support versus a first-year superintendent. So, yep, we can customize that any way you'd like to see with that. Honestly, that's the fun part. Once they're on board and going, that's the stuff we like to see. That continuation, hopefully, to seeing them be successful. That's the part. I think is that principal, senior teachers be successful, or teacher, senior kids be successful. That's what we like to connect with as well.
I do have one more question, and that would be in regard for your fee for services. It's a percentage of salary. Did I read it was 8% of salary?
Correct. I believe that's the number that Trent uses in his calculation.
Plus mileage, and you're located in Ankeny?
No, we're both just outside of Cedar Rapids.
What's Cedar Rapids? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing from you, and we would be honored to get a chance to work with you.
Thank you.
Next, we are moving on to reports, and the elementary principals are up first.
All right. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak a little bit about the grade alike transition that our elementary schools went through last year. I am Ashley Hoyer. I'm the principal at Lincoln Elementary School that houses all of our first and second grade students, but I'm also the principal of Salem Elementary School that houses one section of kindergarten through 5th grade. This is Melanie Calora. She is the Van Allen principal, and the Van Allen houses all of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. And Katie Sands is the Harlan Elementary principal that houses all of our preschool and kindergarten students.
Okay, so we get the pleasure of walking you through these phases tonight, and I just want to say that it's a huge testament to our teachers and staff. They did a phenomenal job taking the best laid blueprints last year and making it happen and making it occur reality. So we just thank everybody that was a part of it that last year. So when we walk through these phases, it's not necessarily a timeline. It's not set in a year. It's not set in 2 years. We're really working collaboratively as an admin team to make sure, with our building leadership teams, with our PBIS teams, to make sure that we're hitting the mark. And so we kind of have this laid out where we've been this last year, where it's building the foundation. And then we also are going to walk through phase 2 of implementing best practices and keep that momentum going by making that impact on students. We don't always see that right away, so we want to make sure that we're getting our aim line for our goals and then also sustaining the work. So I'll let Kate kind of take that.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so as a lot of you know, we do a lot of work with Four Oaks and Brittany Roberts, and a lot of the stuff that we've learned has to do with your brain and how your brain works. And something that really stuck with a lot of us is when you enter any situation, your brain kind of goes through the three different states, hopefully. But the first thing your brain's always doing is to try to say, am I safe? Your brain is scanning around trying to figure out if they're safe. After that, the brain feels safe. Then the next one is the emotional state, which is the blue one, which is, am I loved? Am I connected to anyone? Do I have some sort of connection here? And then the last one, which is the green one, that's where you're doing your heavy thinking. That's where you're really starting to get down and dirty with everything. What can I learn from this? If you think about where we went last year, we went from a comfort of all of us being in a building to every single person being in a new environment. Every single person for the elementary. So every single person's brain was in the survival state. When we started in August, this is where we all were. Am I safe? And sometimes we thought no. I mean, we knew we were safe, but there are those questions. There was so much going on. The beginning of the year is hectic, whether you've been in education for 20 years or whether you've been in education for 1 year. It's always going to be hectic. So as we went through the year, August through about October, we were definitely just down here. Because first it was like, what does dismissal look like? What does arrival look like? Who has that duty? How are we going to get 100 kindergarten kids through lunch? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? It was all over the place. And then all the way through October, because then it's like, what is our testing going to look like this year? How are we going to do our fast testing? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? What's our first holiday party look like? How did you do the holiday parties? How did you do the holiday parties? I mean, if you listen to me, we didn't say anything about curriculum in any of that. I mean, that was just what we had to figure out to make our schools run. So August through October, we were all pretty stressed out. And then October, November hit, and we were like, we got this. Christmas, the holiday party in the winter came up. We were great. We were like, we know how to do this. Dismissals down, arrivals down, everything's great. We had this like little, utopia in the middle. And then we're kind of up in this emotional state. Like, I'm starting to connect with my teammates. I'm starting to actually be able to work with my teammates because I'm not having to worry so much about how do we get through a day. Now we're starting to be able to work a little more together. And then spring break hit, and after that, we went straight back down to survival mode. What does ISASC look like? How are we going to get through 5th grade, all in one building through ISASC together? What does the end of the year look like? What does checkout look like? What does this look like? So it was just started going all over again. So we were back into the survival state. But now, moving forward, we know all of those things right there.
Like, we're starting this year so much more comfortable. From the principals all the way down, even probably with our first year teachers that are coming in, you guys probably feel like, oh, I know what I'm talking about this year. So all of that we had to work on last year is now done with for this coming year.
So something else that we feel kind of falls into that phase one, which is building the foundation, is the academic side of everything. And so we knew as an elementary admin staff that in order to be able to put to work all of the things our collaborative teams have been doing and sort of live out this multi-tiered system of support that we follow here in Mount Pleasant, we knew we had to develop a master schedule that allowed for that. And so that was a lot of the work that we did when students and staff were out of school. We worked through June and really worked very hard to put together a master schedule that will allow for collaboration. We partnered with our instructional coaches at the elementary level, and they were a huge piece in this as well when we were developing that master schedule. So we did want to say a huge shout out to them, because we worked for days and days and days and hit a wall, passed it on to them and said, what are we missing? And they were able to crank it out for us, so kudos to them. Excuse me, so what we've done is, again, with the help of our instructional coaches, is we have developed a master schedule that will allow for 1 hour of collaboration for grade level teams daily, excluding Friday, so Monday through Thursday. Something else we worked really hard to do was align the Salem elementary schedule so that the teachers who are working in Salem can Zoom in virtually for at least 1 hour of that per week. So hopefully in the future we can allow for more time, but right now we were able to allow for 1 hour of our Salem staff to be able to virtually collaborate with their in-town staff. Some things that we had received in that survey that was sent out at the end of the year, one of the things that we really noticed was the teachers were saying, okay, we're grade alike, we're feeling very comfortable with this. We were promised collaboration, and it just wasn't working. Our schedule did not allow for any additional collaboration besides those early out Fridays. So that was another piece of why we really worked hard to develop this new master schedule. And again, a lot of the things that we've been working on will allow that extra collaboration time will allow us to do that. Provide students with interventions, provide students with extensions, group students based on their skill. So for example, at Lincoln Elementary, we're gonna be able to group kids based on a phonics skill that they might need. And we can do that grade-wide, we can even do it building-wide because of the grade-alike transition. And also, our instructional coaches are gonna be working very closely with specific teams. They will also be able to attend those 1 hour collaboration sessions throughout the week so that they can help us and support us and put those practices to work. One other thing that we felt like we wanted to sort of beef up a little bit, we feel like is still very foundational, is our communication to our community. So it was different depending on what building you were in. Katie might have done a monthly newsletter. I might have been able to communicate here and there. Melanie, same sort of thing. This year we're working really hard to communicate at least quarterly. We're gonna share things out as an elementary staff. We are still in the developing phases, but that is a goal of ours, is to communicate things at least quarterly from the three of us. And again, other things like progress reports and our FAST and iReady letters, we're working really hard to be very consistent on how those things go out to our families. So if you have a student at Lincoln, Harlan, and Van Allen, our families are receiving these communications in a timely manner, if not in the same day.
So we have really worked hard, our staff included, on really making this one elementary setting in 4 different buildings. And so that takes some time. It's just like when we adopt a new curriculum, sometimes you don't see the micro impact right away, and so it takes some time. So this year we're still heavily working on the foundational pieces, but then we're leaning into implementing these practices that we've been studying, 4 Oaks book studies. We've been looking at our data, responding to the data, class-wide interventions, and we're trying to maximize those collaboration time with our grade levels and our instructional coaches so that we can hit the ground running with them and having the best practices for our students. And like we said before, you know, we might not see the big impact, you know, in October, but these are those micro moments that are making a difference, giving those teachers opportunities to look at the data daily and say, hey, we can look at our common formative assessments and we can change our instruction as a team is huge and monumental, and that's kind of what we were noticing from the survey feedback as well. And so what we'll be looking at for measuring is those CASEL competencies, our Portrait of a Panther, SABRES, our literacy and math data days. We're trying to align those services as well so that we make sure that we're aligned between the elementary buildings. And just also student engagement. It's been really fun to see the kids at recess, and they are lighting up about, you know, having the same developmental recess games, and I'm sure they're going home and saying, hey, this happened at recess. So just that climate and culture, it really does make an impact. We want our students to feel welcome and belong in our buildings. And sorry. You know, it's like the chamber said earlier, we want our kids to come back here and serve our community. We want to be proud of that, and they're going to be part of our task force. So just really talking about, you know, all of this, if we're feeling safe with our brain and we're helping students feel welcome, our staff feel welcome, onboarding, and the more that we can get the nuts and bolts down pat and we can really give them the best instructional tools, it's going to help retention and recruitment of our staff, and in return also our students that want to come back and help serve our community. And so that's kind of what our aim line is. I'm just really proud of the work that they've done. It's been very productive.
Okay, this is me. What questions do you have?
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for all the hard work you've done. I know it seems like we've been picking on you a lot lately. I promise that we will go after the principals of the other buildings soon enough. No, but seriously, we've asked you guys to do a huge undertaking. And one of the things that I praise, just public education in general, is the adaptability and being able to problem solve as educators and admins. No matter what gets thrown at you, you guys figure it out. And I watched that happen through this year, both as a board member and a parent. You know, we saw those phases that you guys just walked us through. So I'm glad that we had a successful ending, not to say that the start wasn't successful, but you know, I'm glad to see that you guys worked through it. So I think that we've got the right team in place. You guys are knocking it out of the park. And it helps to have these kinds of report backs. I know it's extra work for you guys, but it really helps us to know that the direction that we're going, if it's working, if it's not, how we need to help by getting the data back from you guys. So I don't really have a question. I just wanted to thank you guys so much. You guys have been killing it lately. So good luck to you on the next year.
I kind of want to echo Aaron's thank you for all you've done and the leadership that you've provided and the mentorship that you've provided. And I think the first slide that you showed, the brain, says a lot. I think there was too many people thought that this change was going to be, oh, it'll be a snap. They haven't been around kids and teachers that long.
Right.
But I want to thank you because that slide, I think, showed a lot in the different levels that we were at throughout the year. And I thank you for hanging in there, staying in there, and go for it in 25-26.
I too would commend you, and I'm glad you were able to figure out a master schedule that included the hour of daily collaboration, because that definitely was a benefit that we thought would be a result of these Great Alike classes. So thank you, and let us know if there's something else that I can do to help you further this transition. Thank you.
Something else I thought of. Something else that I thought of that I didn't mention was we also built in an hour of collaboration for our specials teachers as well weekly. And again, this is in addition to the 90 minutes on Friday early out. So our teachers, our music teachers, and our PE teachers will be able to collaborate at least an hour a week in addition to Friday.
And that's further proof that you guys are responding to the needs as they come. That's something that we heard as well. The master's teachers were or the specials teachers were, looking for that, and that was something I heard, and you guys have answered to it, so good job.
My only comment is going to be, don't forget to continue to ask us for what you need. Keep advocating for what you guys need to the board. I mean, we know some of that's personnel and supplies and facilities, but don't hesitate to ask.
And I just want to say thank you very much for all those compliments. But our teachers went through the major part of it. I mean, because they're the ones that had to learn how to work together even closer. They thought they were doing everything alike, and then when they actually had the conversations about it, they realized they weren't. My kindergarten team had a whole 90-minute discussion on how to say letter sounds, because they were saying the W different, and they were saying Y different. Were those the only two? I think there was one more too. So I mean, but they didn't know that until they were all working so closely together. And actually, because our Title I teacher spoke up and our special education teacher spoke up and said, I have kids coming to group saying the same letter 3 different ways. So yes, it was very hard on us, but our teachers did work and they pushed through a lot of challenges. So I want to make sure that they get the credit too, because they had a lot of I don't knows coming from my mouth at the beginning of the year, and we all made it. So I just wanted to make sure that was said.
So I do have a question.
Here, you can answer.
So what does the feedback loop look like in your buildings as the year starts? So how do you gather feedback from your staff, and how do you make changes on the fly? What does that look like?
So each building is a little bit different, varying. It's more of the autonomy of that. But we do have surveys that have gone out. I know at a couple of the buildings, just to kind of gauge where we were at to where we are now. We had good positive results on that. We also use our building leadership team a lot. They kind of have a representative per grade level or per content that can come advocate for, hey, have you noticed this? They give great feedback, help us problem solve as a team.
Moving forward with our master schedule, we actually, the teachers don't know this yet, but when we present to them on Wednesday, we have a slide on there that explains to them if something's not working in the schedule, how they go about reporting that. So they go to their grade level facilitator, and as a grade level, they are going to discuss ideas, what may work, what not work with each other, and then if they still can't get it, the grade level facilitator who is on the BLT at each building are going to bring that to the BLT, and then the BLT is going to look at the master schedule to try to brainstorm the next steps. So that's one of our slides in our presentation to our teachers that we'll be giving on Wednesday.
And I was just going to add, formally, I feel like those are the ways that we collect feedback, but informally at each of our buildings, we have something called a parking lot hanging in like staff lounge or just a common area. And parking lot isn't a place for teachers to give anonymous feedback. There's 4 quadrants: what's going well, areas in need of improvement, ideas for improvement, and then general questions. And then they can either write their name on it if they want, but typically it's an anonymous way to give feedback. And then the information is organized into something called a stoplight report, so that they are getting ongoing communication, I would say at least every 2 weeks, of updates on their feedback. Whether green means go, like we updated this and did whatever you asked, and here's the answer to that. Yellow meaning I gotta ask somebody else who might know this answer, so it's kind of in progress. And red is not right now, and why we can't take care of that feedback right now. So that formally, informally.
I don't have that.
Katie's implementing it this year.
I
thought we were all doing that in each
okay.
building.
I just wanted to make sure if you said something,
Oh,
Harlan,
sorry.
I'm saying that. I don't have it.
Sorry, I thought we all were doing that.
I'm not trying to like over compliment the grade alike, but that's the cool part, is the curiosity that we're getting to see this in our collaborative teams, but also us 3. I mean, you have 2 admin that are coming on board, so we get to hear, oh, what great ideas are these teachers doing there? How can we implement it here? And so it just makes it a lot more ebb and flow, so it's just kind of neat.
You have pointed out a number of things that you've changed and progressed on. Is there any aspect of the grade alike that you felt you had a table this year, or it's gonna take a little bit more time, and that you need help in implementing?
For my perspective, I would say just patience. We have to trust the process, and we gotta, just kind of have that grit. Sometimes it's gonna be hard. We're gonna have challenging conversations, but I've seen so many blessings in disguises. Just things that they brought up that I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that one. It's a change order on a house. We've got to move and pivot, and teachers have been flexible, and it's been really beautiful on the other side.
I don't know, I don't wanna, we probably didn't stop anything, but when I would have teachers who would get frustrated because something was happening, or I'd say, guys, this is a good thing. It's good that we are finding these differences, that we're finding it like this, because if we weren't in the same building, we never would have found it, and we could never move forward. So so it's not like stopping, it's more like they had to give themselves grace to know that it's okay if we don't get there yet, but we're seeing the inconsistencies, and now we can actually work on them. I don't know if that.
So I think in the work session in June, we talked about that we're gonna give you a couple months to get your feet wet again, and that we'd be asking probably for an update come October on how things are going, how is the new master schedule. That sounded like, I think we agreed upon a reasonable timeline, that we wouldn't ask right after Old Threshers how it was going. And then I think the other thing that from the board perspective, as we did the training with each other, when we have staff, parents come to us, one, we can speak to more of what you're doing, but also reassure them that they need to come to you, and that those conversations, those fixes happen when they communicate directly with you. If they want to brag about you and tell us how great you are, great, but if they have opportunities for improvement, that we're going to direct them to you. We're going to listen, but we really can't respond, and that's really, I think, what we took out of some of the board development was making sure that we're pointing them in your direction.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And thank you.
Thank you, guys. I would definitely brag on you and tell everybody how great you are, because you're an amazing team.
Now you have to follow that.
All right. Okay, so we are, at the superintendent's report. So I'll go down through these items. We have new teacher opening day tomorrow morning right here in the Media Center, 8 o'clock. You're welcome to attend. We will have breakfast, donuts and rolls and juice and coffee. We'll do introductions of the team at about 8:15 or so, and then we'll head in, we'll get into our agenda at about 8:30. And we have a good morning's worth of getting to know you and getting to know the district. So we'll have our new teachers tomorrow.
How many new teachers are?
I think 17 is the.
Right around 20. We have.
Okay. I thought I counted 17 bags. You might be short 3, so. Anyway. Okay. Second, we have all staff opening day on Wednesday. That'll be in the Commons. Breakfast will start at about 7:30. Again, provided by the Chamber and Hy-Vee, so you're welcome, board members, to attend that. And again, we'll spend a couple of hours together in the Commons, just getting reacquainted, having some fun, and then the teachers will head to their buildings from there. So that is on Wednesday. I asked Dr. Butler to briefly go through our pre-service professional development, and so I will see if I can get that back up here. Yeah, in and out, right? Okay.
Alrighty.
You tell me where you want to start.
So you've already talked about Tuesday, you've already talked
about Wednesday. So Wednesday after the morning, the teachers will have the lunch on their own. Actually, they'll have us in the morning from 8:15 till 10:30. Maybe a few knock-knock jokes. I don't know, Mr. Hendrickson is known for his knock-knock jokes, or not knock-knock jokes, dad jokes. Dad jokes, so maybe a few of those. They'll have the rest of the morning in their buildings, lunch on their own, and then the afternoon will be back in their buildings. Thursday, we'll have people in different places, but if you can scroll to the right there. First column is elementary, middle column is middle school, and the last column to the right is high school. The focus of that day is Portrait of a Panther. So I'm going to give an update on Portrait of a Panther. I'll start with a really brief history of Portrait of a Panther, because we do have some new staff, so just kind of where Portrait of a Panther came from, and then what it looks like for this year as far as implementation, so getting everybody up to speed on that. We'll do two of our, we have a significant number of mandatory trainings that are linked on this document, but we're going to do two of them actually not online. We're going to do them physically. Martha Peterson's going to deliver those. One's a homelessness training, one is a suicide prevention training. So she's going to do those that day. And then we will have an AEA online training. We have an AEA online resources that we have access to, and we don't have, we have a certain number of people that aren't accessing it, so we want to make sure they're aware of that, how to access, and what amazing resources are there, so we'll have a little bit of learning around that. And then almost everybody will have time in their buildings. We do have revised science standards from the state, so we have an AEA person coming to meet with our science teachers throughout the week to make sure they're aware of and familiar with our revised science standards. So that brings us to Friday. Friday is an exciting day. Friday is the day we're going to really bring our collaborative teams together. You guys had a chance to hear a little bit about some of our collaboration. We have 28 collaborative teams in our district, and we want to start the day Friday with an opportunity for our collaborative teams to come together and do some team building. So we have something that's called Panther Pursuit, and it's going to be some pretty intensive competition. Kind of excited about that. For the first 2 hours, we're going to spend doing some team building from 8 to 10, and then after that, from 10 to 12, they'll have a chance to do some collaborative team work together. They'll have lunch on their own, and then from 1 to 2, some more collaborative team time. And then for the most of the teachers will have time in their building. We do have elementary doing a little bit of work on some of the new math legislation. Math Counts, State of Iowa has some new math legislation that we're going to dig into. I'm sure the math teachers will be really excited to hear about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of our building level PD at the elementary. Then on Monday, when we come back on Monday, we're going to dig into our professional learning plans and our proficiency scales. I'm going to remind them what those look like and give them some time to do some self-assessments. Teachers will have time to work on some of their mandatory trainings in their buildings. And then we're going to try something different this year. We every year do a run, hide, fight, or Alice training. We've always done it large group in the commons with everybody, and gotten some feedback that that's maybe not the best way to do it, so we're going to try to do it at the building level for middle school and high school, and for elementary, we're going to do all the elementary teachers together at Van Allen and try to make it a little more direct instruction and a little smaller scale. So run, hide, fight training will happen at all 3 levels, 3 different times throughout that day. In the afternoon, we have an Apple representative coming. Something new this year, you'll see over on that counter over there, we have iPads. All of our teachers are each getting an iPad, and we have an Apple rep coming with some instruction on some new tools for teachers, specific to teachers using their iPads in the classroom. So we're excited about that. Tuesday the 19th, we have teachers working in their buildings. I believe the bulk of the day. We've got a couple of groups, individual groups, doing some training, some Tier 1, Tier 2 trainings, and some CPA trainings, but most teachers are in their buildings working. I tried as much as possible to provide teachers time to work in their buildings. If their principals haven't assigned them to do something, then they get time to work in their classrooms, which I know they need as much time as possible in their classrooms. That is also the day for 6th grade orientation, 5:30 to 6:30. And that brings us to Wednesday, August 20th. Wednesday, August 20th is actually a teacher quality day. This is a day that is, it's actually an optional day. Teachers can opt to come to this day or not come to this day. They get paid extra for this day using teacher quality funds. We have actually a wonderful plan for this day. We do sessions, 1 hour sessions or 5 1-hour sessions throughout the day. And teachers get to choose from roughly 30 different options throughout that day of learning. So we've got several teachers within our own district, administrators and coaches within our districts who we are paying to provide PD for that day. So instead of hiring someone from the outside to come in, we've got a lot of experience and knowledge already in the district. So we're taking full advantage of that and having our own staff provide learning opportunities. So we've got anything from a hiking option, a yoga option, social emotional behavioral health, collaboration, you name it, anything you can think of. We've got all kinds of options, or a little bit over 30 options that people can choose from for 5 sessions throughout the day. That day we'll also have food trucks available at lunchtime. They can go out and have lunch out in the on the lawn and come back in. And we'll have mentors and mentees that day as well at the end of the day. Thursday, August 21st is a teacher work day. So teachers will be working in their, I assume, in their classrooms that day. We have paraprofessional PD that day. We'll have 2 hours of paraprofessional PD for the pairs that choose to work that day. And I think that gets us to the last day, Friday the 22nd. Again, teachers will be working in their classrooms. Teachers do start late that day to make up for what I missed the night before, which is open house, 4 to 6:30 at all buildings except for Salem. Salem's open house is then that next night from 4 to 6. What did I not mention? Anything? Okay. We're excited.
It's going to be great. Week and 7 days is going to be a great pre-service time. Looking forward to it. Okay. We do have scheduled board members. We've got scheduled August 25th as a regular work session time. So content on that is still being developed based on kind of how some of these things go with the superintendent search firm. So, but you can put that in your calendar, the 25th of August, 6 o'clock here at the Media Center. Just again, put in your calendars a live after 5. The chamber hosting a live after 5 we are hosting at our RTM site. At 1515 East Monroe. And again, for those of you who don't know what RTM stands for, Receiving, Transportation, and Maintenance. That's we call it the RTM. And that move-in is continuing to happen. There was a lot happening out there today with transportation and buildings and grounds. So, but October 1, a live after 5 at the RTM. Number 6, school board election information. I do have some information regarding school board elections. Jessica has put together packets. They're over on the table. So if anyone is interested in school board vacancies that we have, the information is there. I thought some of the key dates that I would mention to you. Monday, August 25th, that is the first day of school. Candidate filing begins on August 25th, and then the last day to file is September 18th. And all of this information is in the packet over there, with Election Day being Tuesday, November 4th, and then they'll certify the election because we are in multiple counties. They'll certify, our supervisors will certify the election either on Monday, November 17th, or Wednesday the 19th. And so this, I did put this together. The highlighted seats are the seats that will be up for election. Director District 1, and I would mention again, Director District 1, and we'll have the maps and everything available for potential candidates. Director District 1 is generally Mount Pleasant proper. The city of Mount Pleasant does extend out to Threshers Meadows, as Melinda is currently serving in Director District 1. She's serving a 2-year term. Now, all of these seats will be elected for a 4-year term. The reason some of these are 2-year terms is because we reorganized the board a couple of years ago, and this election will get us back to all 4-year terms with a rotation on those terms. So, Director District 1 has a 4-year term that's open, that's currently being filled by Melinda. Director District 2 has a 4-year term that will be open, that is currently being filled by Derek Mullen. And then finally, there is an at-large seat that will be available. It's currently being filled by Josh Maher, but again, all of those will be elected as 4-year terms. If you have questions on that, you can see me or see Jessica regarding school board elections. Number 7, the annual convention, again, for board members for your calendars, November 19th through the 21st. Thursday, November 20th is really the big day that we go, that we've gone to the convention, but people are interested, you can attend all 3 days, but take a look at your calendars for that. Number 8, we will be hosting a board professional development opportunity on January 14th for board members, actually for all board members, but it's great timing for those who have just come onto the board. It'll be right here in our media center. Ready, Set, Govern is what it's called, January 14th, right here in our media center. And then the last thing on our superintendent's report is the PEO, a correspondence from PEO International. They hosted at our central campus in Old Main. They hosted back in mid-July the international contingent of PEO members, and they just wanted to give their thanks for all that was done to get those buildings ready, to get the grounds ready. Chad did an outstanding job, and his team did an outstanding job of getting that all ready for hosting of the PEO members. So we were glad to do that, and thank you for the opportunity to host. So. And that is the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to board committee reports. Derek, do you want to share first?
Yes, I do. Do you want to go through each one of them? John's got the site committee pulled up right now. So a lot of good discussion in the committee meetings last Thursday. That first bullet point is we did hear from a second superintendent search firm, and that was Dr. Stephen Murley of McPherson and Jacobson. This is coming up in new business, search firm selection. The second bullet point is Chad Banghouse, Director of Building and Grounds, gave an update on the current progress of the 25-26 buildings. You saw some cones out there in front of the high school. He said he's going to move the concrete up next year.
Those will be gone for tomorrow morning.
Third bullet point is still, Mr. Hendrickson and Mr. Vanghouse gave an update on the Central Campus Activity Center and the RTM. RTM is the new bus barn, you know, central receiving, transportation, and maintenance. Both of those sites were waiting on some network equipment, so that way we can have cameras up and running. The phone service needs an internet connection, voice over IP to make that work. So Brandon Reidinger is going to be working on that, you know, as soon as possible. Some of the equipment is what we've been waiting on. The next bullet point I've got listed as the PEO
Hey
memorial.
Derek, could I mention, one of the things that we did talk about was we do have a contingency plan in case we can't start Wisdom Quest at the Activity Center. Our contingency plan will be ready for Wisdom Quest to start at their current facility, and we'll be able to transition and move when it's ready. So that's our plan for Wisdom Quest.
Yep, so moving on to the PEO Memorial Building, Chad Vanghouse shared the continued deteriorating conditions of that. The brickwork, the masonry at the top is falling to the ground. It's mentioned that we're gonna have more people on that campus real soon for the gymnasium and the chapel. So the safety concerns and ongoing, you know, decay on the inside of the building. He shared pictures from the inside of the building, showing some moisture issues. So we also had some recent rains, and there was a sewer line, you know, back up. It's listed right there. And the cost of that cleanup was $8,000. If it would have been through insurance, it would have been even more than $8,000. The committee's recommended placing orange fencing around the building as a safety perimeter, and the committee also recommended that Mr. Hendrickson consult with legal counsel regarding necessary steps to prepare for demolition of the building.
So I do have some of the pictures that we looked at on Thursday, and I'll go as big as I can. I mentioned on the radio today that I learned a new term with regard to masonry, and that is corbel, C-O-R-B-E-L. And corbel is the structural and decorative work not quite at the top of the building, because the building itself does extend up a little bit above the corbel. So this is looking up from the ground to the bottom of the corbel. You can see where we've had a number of pieces, small pieces, and some chunks fall off of the corbel. And you can also see the discoloration where moisture has been entering through the corbel and then into the brickwork and then into the walls of the memorial building. Just to share a few, again, from the ground up, you can see what that looks like. Pull back a little bit, but we get pieces of that on the ground quite frequently. Hence the need, the site committee's recommendation, let's get yellow fencing around that so someone we want to be safe as we begin the school year and we start to use the activity center more and the chapel more. See, that's a good picture of the deterioration of that. Kind of a different picture of that spot. And then so finally on the inside, then what is happening is the moisture is wicking through the walls and into the ceiling and into the walls. So You can see there's plaster work and paint and plaster that is falling off the walls and into the window sills, deterioration of the window sills. It's just a picture of that. This is how it starts. You know, it starts looking like this as that moisture wicks in. So you can see some of the condition there. As mentioned, there is a sewer line clog. We had sewage back up into the basement that we had to get cleaned. As per Chad, it's hard to tell whether that is there's an actual clog or there is a tree root system clog that is causing that. So at the committee's request, I have contacted our legal counsel on what steps do we need to take if we were to consider demolition of that building. And what would need to happen is, because of the cost, an estimated cost, we have an estimate of about $350,000. Because of the level of cost, we would have to do a sealed bid process. The sealed bid process so as part of the sealed bid process, we would need to get specifications from either an engineering company or an architect to develop the specs on a demolition, and then we would need to have we would need to set a public hearing to discuss the potential plans, specifications, and cost estimates for a demolition, and then following a public hearing, the board could make a decision on. Following that, we would have a time to receive sealed bids, and then open those bids. Lowest responsible bidder, we would present that to the board and for your consideration if that's the direction that the board desires to go in. I know that we've received a lot of feedback about that building and about the significance of that building to the former Iowa Westland, to our community, the stately nature of that building. It's a wonderful looking building. However, without a use for the building and the costs associated with some of the things that you're seeing here tonight, some of the costs associated with making it handicap accessible. We just don't, the district does not have a use for the building. We did know that going in. We knew it going into the purchase of Central Campus, and we didn't have an option to carve out the corner of Central Campus. We knew we had a use for the chapel. We knew we had a use for the activity center. We didn't have that for this, but we weren't allowed to just cordon that off. So that's kind of a recap of the discussion we had at the board committee meeting.
Right, that's what I was going to finish up with, was the educational use for our school district is not there with that building. Going back to the site committee notes, we have a classroom furniture donation, so this is a huge win. Anytime you can get something that's going to help our students. It is only one classroom. It's from a vendor, Hendrickson Company, which is not our superintendent.
Spelled differently.
Exactly. They provided some new furniture that's going into the RTM facility, and they wanted to make a donation. So it's worth approximately $13,000. We have to approve that. That's going to be a new business. The last item from the site committee is a proposed board resolution for an ad hoc committee, which will also be a new business. Determine the appropriate number of and location of school district attendance centers. So the July meeting, we had a recommendation of 7 sections of grades K to 2 and 6 sections of grades 3 to 5. That's going to be what a 30-member ad hoc committee is going to be tasked with looking into and reporting back to the board in a December-January timeline. A facilitator from outside the district will be utilized. Anything else from anybody?
I'll take policy. We did learn about new fundraisers at the activities. The athletic boosters specifically are planning on doing in October, so more to come on that. We did review legislative priorities. We're going to go over that in new business as well. It's the time of year that we look at all of the things and put forth what we feel the top ones for our school district are. We do have in new business, we have our other reading of the Series 200 and a second reading of the electronic policy, the cell phone use policy that goes into effect. That was state law. We have the second reading. We did discuss how we are going to continue to push that out to our students and families as we get ready for the first day of school, since that will be a change for our high school students. The middle school and elementary schools aren't seeing any difference. We already had those things in place, but it will be a change for our high school students. So how we continue to get that out and make sure everybody is aware of those changes. We also talked about some other opportunities for fundraising. Our students we have the FFA group that's helping with the elk tent again out at Old Thresher, so more opportunities for volunteerism and helping out the community. So we'll be approving that in new business as well. Finance, Melinda, do you?
I'll be glad to do finance if you'd like. We did review the expenditures for the month of July, and we also reviewed property tax rates. Mr. Hendrickson reported that our rate is $11.97, the same as what was certified by our district. We also reviewed the penny sales tax allocation. That will be $240,421 this year as opposed to $217,000 last year. And we reviewed our fiscal year closeout for 2025. And because we've had some personnel changes at central office, Ed Schaubel, our former chief financial officer, is going to be helping with this closeout. And we'll be doing our audit is scheduled for the week of November 3rd. I'm sure Jessica's looking forward to that. And then Mr. Henderson shared more information about our board elections, which he's already shared this evening.
And that concludes our 4+ hours of committee meetings that we held last week. Any other board communications?
I just would like to thank the school district on behalf of the Public Health Committee for the opportunity to use the Central Activity Center tonight.
Yeah.
And they had a number of families that attended, and it was good to see it being used.
Fantastic.
And so, good turnout.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have consent items. We have personnel and open enrollment. We can do those as one or separate. Are there any questions? Motion to approve personnel and open enrollment?
So moved.
Also move. Or second, whichever.
All right. Roll call?
Lentz?
Yes.
Mullen?
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Husinka.
Yes.
All right, we have no unfinished business, so we will move along to new business. Our first item is consideration to waive open enrollment out transfer student ineligibility period.
So you heard Alan speak earlier this evening, and he and I have talked on the phone as well. Just as a reminder, or to remind you, which I know you don't need reminding, I know these are really, really difficult decisions. The board has taken the position that without a good cause, reason, you have not chosen to approve waiving the ineligibility period. And I say that with all due respect to Alan and to his family and to that situation, to everything that he expressed tonight. All due respect to them. And with that said, I would recommend that you not approve waiving the ineligibility period.
With that, again, we need a motion to approve or deny the open enrollment ineligibility waiver request.
I make a motion to deny the open
enrollment transfer student ineligibility period.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second. And yes, it is a difficult decision, but I'm second.
Anybody else want to share? Otherwise, roll call?
Lent.
Yes.
Mullen.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yeah.
No.
Williamson.
No.
Hampton.
Yes.
Husinka.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve classroom furniture donation.
Okay, so as Derek mentioned, the company is Henriksen Company. They have provided, well, we purchased furniture from them for the RTM site, and they made the offer to provide for us, to give us at no cost a classroom furniture set. Again, this is the language of the agreement, to provide the furniture and installation at no cost to the school district. So just to, and again, it's about a you can see here $12,734 per class, so about a $13,000 donation. If I can flip this here, would look something, the layout in a classroom would look something like this. So it's 6 tables, 4 people at a table. You've got also furniture here for a teacher to work with groups of students up front at the front of the classroom. There's also storage and such at the back of the classroom, and will look again something like this. So I would recommend that you approve.
And to know any future furniture purchases would have to go through the
Yeah, that's
competitive
correct. Yeah,
process.
and the company, the Henriksen Company, is aware of that. It doesn't mean we're automatically going to go with them. This is a wonderful donation. If we buy classroom sets of furniture, we need to look and get quotes for furniture, which is what we would do.
Is there a motion to approve the classroom furniture donation?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Lent.
Yes.
Mullen.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Husinka.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve a resolution forming an ad hoc committee.
So, as Derek mentioned, this ad hoc committee would be a district facilities planning committee. And again, I highlighted here some of the language to plan and prepare for the future facility needs of the district. Would be comprised of approximately 30 individuals. As I shared with the committee, with the site committee, this group of 30 individuals would be made up of a majority of parents and community members, more than half of that 30, and then a handful of district teachers, a handful of administration, a handful of district executive leadership. The charge of the committee would be to determine, based on those things that Derek mentioned, the recommendation of, in grades K-2, 7 sections of students. In grades K-2, 6 sections in grades 3 through 5. And that may have, and other than that, everything else will be on the table for discussion on what that would look like for the future of the district. And so their charge is really the number and the location of district attendance centers, and to provide a report or a recommendation to the board on or before January 26, 2026. That would be our January work session. Unless you have questions, I would recommend that you approve.
Any questions?
I think it's good that we're going to continue to rely upon these types of committees to get community feedback into every step of this process moving forward. So I like to see the use of this more and more.
Motion to approve the resolution for the ad hoc committee formation?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Flint.
Yes.
Mullen.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Husinga.
Yes.
Next, we have consideration to approve the IASB legislative priorities.
I won't go through all of the priorities that IASB puts out. We did discuss, I reviewed the priorities kind of based on the needs of our district. And I guess what I'll do, I will do this just real quickly, so I don't want to skim over something. The priorities vary. They're very broad, from broad things like public education in general versus I will say versus private. That's really not how I mean that, but educational equity, governance, school board members, school choice. I'll get down to elections. I think this elections is really important for our school district. We have been, as a state now, we're limited on the number of elections. You can have basically one election a year to determine the future of your facilities. And you can't have more than one. And so I think that's important. School boards should have the flexibility to determine when special elections are necessary and to schedule these that best suit the district's needs. Should be a minimum of four special election dates per calendar year for bond referendums, votes on levies, revenue purpose statements, and filling school board vacancies. We've experienced all of those things, just here recently. And so I would say elections is a priority for us. School funding, of course, you're hearing more and more about the Iowa DOGE Committee, Department of Governmental Efficiency, and some of the things that they're talking about with school funding. I think it's really important that we advocate strongly for school funding in appropriate ways for our future. Again, school infrastructure, there was a move at the end of the last legislative session to change funding for school infrastructure, whether that was SAVE dollars or PEPAL dollars. And so I think it's very important to maintain local levies, locally approved levies that have to do and support school infrastructure. So I advocate for that. And then I think the last one is educator preparation and licensure. I would like to see an even tighter connection between teacher preparation programs and our K-12 systems. Some of the things that Dr. Butler mentioned even tonight, the math counts program and literacy programs. There's no reason that our teacher prep programs couldn't be using some of that developmental programs specifically, so that our new teachers are even better prepared when they come out and begin to serve students. So those are the four that I really highlighted. If you have other things that you want to recommend, I certainly, we can discuss that.
I do have one. IPERS. Because the number of people we have in the state of Iowa that are employed that receive IPERS and use it for their retirement.
Right.
I think we ought to have that added to the list.
Okay. I certainly agree. Mike mentioned that after the committee meeting. I certainly agree. There's some discussion about a new way to do IPERS, and I think it's important. IPERS serves the people who serve the people of Iowa. And I'm just going to say it here, I'll say it publicly. Dr. Butler, you put it best. The people who serve the people of Iowa, your teachers, your law enforcement personnel, your emergency personnel, Department of Human Services, it's a vast group. These are the people who serve the people of Iowa. They don't make a lot of money doing that. They're servants, and they serve that way. And the one thing that they count on is that retirement through IPERS. It's a defined benefits program, and it's incredibly meaningful for people who go into public service. So I know that's editorializing a bit, but I would wholeheartedly agree with adding IPERS to this list.
Anybody else?
I think there's a lot that falls under school funding. That's my biggest one, I think, but just for everybody's, awareness, the main things that fall under that is our lack of SSA dollars that's not keeping up with inflation. The more public dollars going toward the voucher system and private charter schools. I want to advocate for public dollars to stay with public schools. And then I think this IPERS falls under that as well. I mean, we're seeing a lot being proposed to be taken away from public education when it comes to funding, and I hope that we have some loud voices advocating to slow that or not allow that to happen.
Anything else? Motion to approve the legislative priorities with the addition of IPERS.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Lynn?
Yes?
Mullen?
Yes.
Overberg?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Hampton?
Yes.
Huizinga?
Yes.
Next, we have the second reading of Board Policy Series 200, the Board of Education.
Okay, no changes to the 200 series, except I did, as per our discussion, I added our mission statement and our vision statement to the guiding principles. Right here. This was the only change. Policy number 200 is the statement of guiding principles. I did add our mission statement and our vision statement to that. So now our mission and vision statement can be found in both the 100 series and the 200 series. We would recommend that you approve the second reading.
Any questions on the second reading? Motion to approve second reading of board policy series 200.
Also move.
Aaron, you got the second.
Second.
Roll call.
Lynn,
Yes.
Mullin,
Yes.
Overberg,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Huizenga.
Yes.
Next, we have the second reading of board policy 50309, student use of personal electronic devices.
Okay, and I told the policy committee, you did a first reading of this and you approved a first reading, and I don't know where I missed it, but we didn't do a second reading like we were supposed to. So this is the second reading of this policy that will govern, as Angie was talking about, the cell phone policy across the district, and student use of cell phones. Again, they're basically prohibited during instructional time. So from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, they'll be prohibited at all levels, K through 12. We will be communicating this change in policy via letter going out to all of our families through Infinite Campus. We'll also get that on social media, and I did talk to our high school principal, Dalton Stone, about doing a short video presentation of that policy change that will get posted to social media as well.
Any questions on that? Motion to approve second reading of board policy 50309.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Lynn,
Yes.
Mullin,
Yes.
Overberg,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Huizenga.
Yes.
Next, we have first reading of board policy 40706, employee early retirement.
Okay, and this is the policy that you approved last January that for people who retire, who meet the requirements of this, they can be compensated for their unused sick leave days. You approved it in January last year and gave until the first business day in March for people to make that decision regarding retirement. And included in the policy is that we will review this in August each year. So that's what we're doing as a first reading. We did change that first day so you would have to submit an application by the first business day in February to be eligible for the retirement. And we discussed this at our finance committee meeting. We left this remuneration or compensation the same for this coming year. Licensed employees, $70 per day, up to the 125 unused sick leave days. Classified employees at $50 per day. That was the only change was the date on this. So would recommend that you approve first reading.
Any questions? Motion to approve first reading of board policy 40706.
I'm so moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Lynn,
Yes.
Mullin,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Huizenga.
Yes.
Overberg,
Yes.
All right. Next, we have consideration to approve FFA Old Threshers Elk Tent fundraiser.
And we had a request to approve this fundraiser. Our FFA kids have been helping for the last number of years in the elk tent. It's been a great opportunity for them, and we wanted to get that on our list of fundraisers. Generally, we approve that in September. Of course, this is happening before then, so I would recommend that you approve.
Motion to approve FFA Old Threshers fundraiser.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Lentz.
Yes.
Mollen.
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hustenka.
Yes.
So our last item of business is to consideration to approve a superintendent search firm. We've obviously had two presentations, McPherson and Jacobson and Meyer tonight. So, conversation, thoughts. Obviously, the longer we wait, the
I did not hear the McPherson, Jacobson presentation, but would they also do a community survey that was mentioned tonight by Grunmeyer?
They did speak of a survey, and they talked, Mr. Murley also talked about focus groups, where he would spend a day here, and there would be different focus groups. He would meet with staff, he would meet with community members. In addition, there was a survey, but he also had a planned face-to-face time with smaller groups to get their consensus and feedback that then would be reported to the board as well. So similar, a little different.
And it kind of felt to me that Grunmeyer would have some more resources available. It seemed like two people were gonna help instead of, and it wouldn't maybe only been one with the other one. But that's kind of something that swayed my opinion right away. Definitely the community survey like we talked about, getting feedback from everyone. And the long-term support, that was my question that I asked. So their communication with us, with the board members, they said they'd do it every Monday. They'd be sending things every Monday. So that's what really sold me for Grunmeyer at the end.
Aaron?
I thought that I was more impressed with Jacobson's presentation. I felt that his connections and resources that he could reach out to as far as checking on candidates was impressive. He helps with the University of Iowa Superintendent Doctoral Program, so he knows everybody that's been released into the pool. However, I think that Grunmeyer's pedigree through districts that we know around here very recently kind of sets them apart. They've helped districts around. But I think that pushed it toward me. I would vote Grunmeyer as well, just because of their work with some of the districts that we've already spoken to or have heard about them helping recently.
Mike?
Grunmeyer, I think what research I have done on the different search committees, they have a pretty good pedigree. And they've helped districts our size, they've helped institutions, I think their background. I really like the survey with the community. I really like that. And I like what Barry brought up every Monday, keeping us informed. I didn't get that feeling that we would be continuously informed, or we would be informed, but not weekly necessarily.
Melinda, do you have any other questions or feedback that we could?
Well, I did speak with the board member of the West Burlington School Board, and she highly recommended Grunmeyer that completed the search for them. They were very pleased with that.
Jessica and I have had conversations as well, and she has had some involvement in her previous roles with them as well, and had positives. I would echo, I don't think we can make a wrong choice. I think either firm would do a good job and find us what we need. but I am on board with the majority, so if somebody would like to make a motion to approve Brennemeyer as our superintendent search firm.
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Lent,
Yes.
Nolan,
Yes.
Overberg.
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Hampton,
Yes.
Hustenka.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our board meeting for tonight. We are adjourned at 8:25 p.m. Thank you.